I have heard it said that Buddha is reverenced, not worshipped. Great reverence for such a great teacher, I understand. What I do not understand is how the practice of Buddhism is distinguished from worship when Buddha is considered the most worthy, most supreme, the perfect one. Homage is paid to the Buddha. By making offerings to the Buddha, one gains merit for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness. In terms of what I would say, I'll go with the last one first. By making offerings to the Buddha, one gains merit for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness. I think Bhante Sila even mentioned it briefly. If you give an offering to a statue, it's not like the ancient Romans or Greeks believed, or the statue will bless you or anything like that. What that merit is the generosity and the kindness and the humility and the reverence that's in your own mind that is going to be creating more skillful mind states for you in the future. That's what it's meant by the acquisition of all kinds of happiness. That's what's meant by merit in that regard. There's no external force that's going to bless upon you anything. It's about working with your own mind. As far as Buddha is considered the most worthy, the most supreme, the perfect one, well, if you think about it this way, if you think about the ability for humanity, a human being, to perfect themselves, what would you call somebody who is the most perfect or has found that perfection? We could call him like Superman or something like that, right? Superman is in the comics is the most superior, well, he's not even a human being, he's an alien. So there you go. But, so really in terms of what I would say is in Buddhism, there's extreme reverence and respect for all beings who have become awakened beings. When we take refuge in the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha is not me, Joe Schmo here, who's, in robes. That Sangha is the Arya Sangha. The people, whether lay people or ordained people, who have become Sotapannas, who have become stream enterers, once returners, non-returners, and Arahants. That's the Arya Sangha. So these are the people who have put the Eightfold Path into practice and have gotten to at least the very first level of awakening. So we revere them very strongly in Buddhism as well. But we revere a Buddha in Theravada. Now, in other traditions it's different, but in Theravada, the only major difference between a Buddha and an Arahant is that a Buddha has developed the paramis to be able to find the Dhamma on their own and be able to perfectly teach this Dhamma. Because if you look at the qualities of the Buddha that Bhante went over, teacher of gods and humans, supreme trainer of persons to be tamed. You can have what's called Pacceka Buddhas, people who have become Buddhas, but they just kind of chill. They can't teach. They haven't developed the qualities in previous lives to be able to do that kind of teaching. So basically, the Buddha, this Buddha, and the Buddhas before him, that come around every however many eons, these are the ideal for us to strive for or towards. And of course in Mahayana, they really go for that because that's where you get the bodhisattva vows and vowing to become a Buddha in a future life and all that kind of stuff. In Theravada, the Buddha's don't even spend an ounce of time in samsara if you don't have to. Get the hell out. That's what the Buddha says. Get out. He said he picks up a dung cow manure in his finger, and he says, I don't approve of this amount of samsara. So he's very, very serious and don't play around, just get out. Follow the Noble Eightfold Path and be done. So I would say from the eyes of a Westerner, or from the eyes of somebody who's used to Judeo-Christian ways, it does look like worship. It does look like you're bowing to some like statue, and the statue is some being in the sky or something like that. But it's definitely not that way in Buddhism. Although different traditions in different places, it can go beyond. I have heard of it being definitely much more towards the worshiping, and then of course in other traditions you have like various demons and deities that people worship and ask for things from and all that. That's definitely getting pretty far out there. But the reverence I understand for the Buddha is like I can remember the first time I really bowed, and it really meant something. Because in the beginning you're bowing, you're like, oh yeah, I'm bowing, everybody else is doing it, or now I'm like supposed to be an anagarika, I should be bowing, and all these kind of things. But I can remember being at a retreat and really struggling, and for the first time ever, all the time I came here, I was the last person in the hall, and I had gone through this up and down and such an amazing experience that I just got right here and I just bowed to the Buddha. I knew this wasn't the Buddha, but I mean just in such gratitude that this person had existed and had brought this teaching. And it was such a emotion and gratitude that, for me, that is reverence to the Buddha. I don't worship him or worship the statues. Honestly, I don't even really care for the statues. I prefer what's in the hall right there, what they call the Buddha Pada. That's before there were statues, which is the Greek influence. There was simply the feet. And that the feet was just saying that the Buddha existed, that the Buddha was here. And you can look, when you go out today, you look to the right, you see that painting, and you'll see it has the Noble Eightfold Path, Dhammachakra, and the other sign is the Triple Gem. So that was, for me, I really connect to that, even more so than a statue. But yeah, so I guess that's all I'll say about the Buddha.